Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today, for today guys, I want to do part 135 to my Let's Play of, my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series. Here's what happened, here's what I said. Noivern, Karadon completed the third trial for us. Or no, Karan with the third trial with Noivern, and now we're moving on. I just said, great job, Karadon. Noivern, I don't know if you can hear me anymore, but I'm gonna leave you some berries as a little thank you. Not only because you gave my friend a spray, but also because you're my favorite Batman. These are all yours. As your voice echoed through the canyon, a soft wind stirred once more. High above on one of the stone ledges, a faint shimmer passed through the clouds, just enough to suggest that Noivern had heard you. Though he didn't descend again, a low metallic sound, like a distant echoing chime, rolled through the air. It wasn't harsh like a supersonic blast. It was calm and gentle, almost grateful. He set the berries nearby at the base of a tall rock, their vibrant colors standing out against the worn stone. A few seconds passed, and then a gust of wind swept down, carefully lifting the berries upward in a swirl of air in a swirl of air before carrying them out of sight toward the ledge where Noivern had last been seen. Caradon, now even larger, his feathers more vivid, his claws stronger, gave a low, pleased rumble at your gesture. Stepped up beside you, his tail light brushing the ground behind him. He didn't say anything right away, but after a moment, he turned to look you in the eye and murmured, "Thank you for helping me see that I don't have to be alone anymore." Hey. As he looked at the third Grotonian wall, the canyon winds blow stronger, almost as if the very earth could feel his growing power and resolve. 3 down, 7 more to go, and the next Guardian, if rumors hold true, may not be as kind as the last 3. But Koraidon, he was ready to face it with you at his side. Yes, and based on that, being 150 feet tall, I wouldn't be shocked if that made you at least 170, maybe even bigger. Especially since you're already 80 feet tall. Orion blinked slowly as he looked down at himself, his now massive frame casting a long shadow over the canyon floor. He took a single step forward, and even that slight movement sent a tremor through the ground beneath both of you. 170? He muttered in awe, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. I never imagined I could become something like this. He flexed his arms slightly, testing the strength in his limbs. The powerful muscles beneath his crimson and black scales rippled with newfound energy. Wait, does that mean he's a shiny Koraidon? Because only the shiny Koraidon is that color. Oh. His tail lashed once behind him, sending a gust of wind in its wake. His golden eyes turned to you again, this time filled with something deeper than just gratitude. I feel strong. But it's not just the spray. It's because you believed in me. You could feel the weight of his transformation, not just in size, but in confidence. He no longer looked like the smaller Koraidon who once hid in the lab's shadows. He stood tall, proud, and most importantly, free. Then he tilted his head slightly. the wind brushing past the tall ridges of it on his head. The fourth guardian. Do you know anything about them? He asked, his voice a bit more serious now. Because if they're anything like Noivern or Arcanine, I need to be ready, and so do you. His gaze lowered slightly to you, ensuring that you were okay being beside him, towering as he now was, but clearly still considering your safety in the trials to come. Off in the distance, the path beyond the canyon twisted upright into a more rugged, rocky slope. The sky above began to darken ever so slightly, not from the setting sun, but from heavy clouds that loomed up far overhead. Whatever waited next, it was going to be a true challenge, but Caradon wasn't alone anymore, and he was growing into the legend he was meant to be. Okay, that's cool. I'll tell you about him. But go ahead and drink your potion. Because I can assure you, if the rumors are true, like what they have been the last few times, this might be one of the biggest Pokemon you will have to face. And you'll want to be as big and as strong as possible. Like I said, that one should make you at least around 170. Maybe even bigger. I keep calling it potion. Crap. Hey. Caradon nodded slowly, his gaze intense as he turned his attention to the sleek, metallic vial of Graftonnium spray nestled safely in its container. It shimmered faintly, reacting almost like it sensed his growing determination. With a low, steady breath, Caradon took the vial in hand. The moment the liquid touched his tongue, a radiant surge of energy coursed through his body. His wings flared wide, and a shockwave burst outward from where he stood, shaking the canyon walls and causing loose rocks to tumble down the cliff sides. You had to take a step back, not in fear, but just to avoid being caught in the sheer power of his rapid transformation. His limbs get heavier and lengthen, each muscle expanding and reinforcing itself with a deep, glowing aura. He rose higher, his wingspan stretching far wider than before. With what had once been an 80-foot tall Pokemon was now a behemoth. A 170-foot tall titan of prehistoric mind. I don't want to say prehistoric when it's a Caridon, not a flippin' dinosaur. It's not Rexy. Caron looked down at you, now appearing even more massive and awe-inspiring than before. Yet in his golden eyes was softness. He gently knelt to lower his massive head closer to your level, the earth trembling beneath him. I don't feel small anymore, he said, his voice low, filled with wonder, but I still feel like your friend. That hasn't changed. The wind settled and the canyon grew silent once more. Then Caron raised his head and his expression turned serious. Now, tell me about this next guardian. I need to know what we're up against. His giant form stood tall once again, casting a shadow that stretched across the land. He was ready, and he was listening. Okay, from what I have heard, it is a the T-Rex looking Pokemon. Period. But like I said, he's gonna be one of the biggest you will have to face. I've heard rumors that he is over 750 feet tall. Oh my gosh. He is over 750 feet tall. Holy frick. Holy crap. Caradon's eyes widened slightly, not in fear but in sheer awe. He took a step back instinctively, the ground groaning under his massive foot. 750 feet? He echoed slowly, his voice now deeper, resonating like distant thunder. That's almost 5 times my size. He tilted his head skyward as if trying to imagine what something that large would even look like standing before him. Glanced back slightly, out of hesitation, but in preparation. Then he looked back down at you, his expression solidifying into focus. I won't back down. If I turn around now, I'm still the same scared Pokemon that let the world walk over him. A gust of wind swept through the canyon, ruffling his crest feathers and brushing sand over your boots. He planted his feet and exhaled, steam escaping his nostrils like a dragon preparing for battle. Where is this Tyrantrum? He asked. I'm ready to stand tall, even if I have to look straight up to do it. Just then, far in the distance, a faint rumble. It wasn't thunder. It wasn't wind. It was footsteps. Pathetic, slow, and impossibly heavy. Dust begins to rise on the horizon. Trees swayed. Rocks trembled. And just barely peeking over the canyon edge ahead, a jagged, bony crown of a colossal predator started to rise. The Tyrantrum was approaching. Even from a distance, its immense size was becoming clear. Trees only reached its knees. Hills looked like stepping stones beneath it. Its roars were like earthquakes. Karan turned his full body to face it, chest rising and falling, wings half flared. Tell me how you want to help. I'll protect you no matter what. He didn't say it out loud, out of arrogance. He said it like a promise. The trial was about to begin, and this was no ordinary test. This was a battle of titans. Holy cow. You'll have to find out the test from... I just hope that for some reason he doesn't see me as a threat. Especially when he's probably 30, maybe even 150 times my size. Let's see now. Oh my gosh. Coron gave you a quick glance, one filled with fierce determination, but also a flicker of concern. "You're my friend," he said, his voice calm but powerful, "and no matter how big he is, if he tries anything, I'll stand between you and him. I promise." As he took a few steps forward, each footfall shook the ground slightly beneath you, the result of his newly enhanced size. You weren't sure if he was now 170 feet or more, but he was massive enough to send waves of dust off the canyon forward just by moving. Up ahead, the canyon opened into a wide natural area, carved by time and power. The sun dimmed as a shadow slowly stretched across the rocky terrain. Then it arrived. From the edge of the cliffside, a titanic tyrantrum emerged. Its footsteps were slow and deliberate, like a living mountain walking. Jagged stone cracked under its sheer weight. Its scales were rough and ancient, tinged with molten orange and earthen gray. Its jaws could likely snap a steel beam like a toothpick. And yet, despite its terrifying appearance, it moved with a regal, almost calculated presence. It stepped just a few hundred feet away from Coridon, towering over even him. For you, it was like staring up at a skyscraper made of muscle and teeth. He was easily 750 feet tall, maybe even more, his eyes burning golden, finally locked onto yours, and paused. There was no roar, no anger, just awareness. You weren't worth crushing, not out of mercy, more like a lion observing a squirrel. But he saw Coridon differently. The ground rumbled as Tyrantrum leaned forward and opened his mouth, not to roar, but to speak. His voice was ancient, deep. Each word echoed through the canyon like the bellowing of the earth itself. You seek the Grotonium. Then you must show me you are more than size. You must carry something heavy, heavier than your body, heavier than your power. He paused. The wind howled through the gorge. Then he finished. You must carry the weight of your past and not fall. Oh, sweet Arceus. These last like 6 tests are about flipping. Because correct? No. Toto just wanted to see if he could flip and, like, dodge. Toto wanted to see if Crown could keep dodging his attacks. Arcanine was more about striking, but not to really, just to show his power and all that stuff. Noivern made him go over the weight of his past by having to face it. It seems like this Tyrantrum is going to make him like carry the weight of his past, not just see it. I wonder how he's going to do that. Suddenly, the canyon floor between them began to crack and shift. Stone pillars erupted from the ground, forming a spiraling platform that twisted upright into a jagged spire. And on top of that spire, shimmering like heat waves, formed a ghostly projection. It was Coridon's past. Uh-oh. The bigger Coridon from the lab, the experiments, the fear, the bullying, all of it, projected into light and shadow, yet somehow physically real. They watched, judged, and waited. Tyrantrum took one final step, making the entire cliff tremble beneath you both. Climb. Carry your past to the top. If it breaks you, you are not worthy of the power you seek. Then the guardian went still, eyes glowing like ancient suns. This was not a test of strength alone. This was a test of endurance, of spirit, and your friend was about to face it, with you watching from below. I'm glad he's not making me do that. Holy cow. No, my luck, if he made me do one, it'd probably have a bunch of bugs in it, or having to see seeing a Feralier go down over and over again. Nope, I would not survive. I'd fall off that cliff instantly, or fall off that flipping spiraling tower, whatever the frick it was. Good luck, my friend. You're doing great so far. Here we go. Karan turned his head slightly at your words. The expression in his glowing eyes softened. For a moment, the looming shadow of Tyrantula above him seemed smaller, not because the giant had shrunk, but because Karadon's heart had grown stronger. I think kind of neat. He gave a low, determined growl, not one of intimidation, but of courage, and began to climb the winding stone spire. Each step made the rocks grind and groan beneath his claws. The spectral memories above shimmered brightly the closer he got, like they were feeding off the fear he had once carried. You could see flickers of it now, images of the past projected in the sky for all to witness. Caridon locked in a containment glass, electric prods forcing him into battle. The other, larger Caridon laughing at his failure, his wings being restrained. The moment he escaped, limping, bleeding, and barely alive. And now he climbed unshaken. About halfway up, the projection swirled and turned solid. Not just visions anymore. Okay, guys, that's something I gotta check on. Here we go, guys. It says about halfway up, the projection swirled and turned solid. Not just visions anymore, but physical objects. A glowing replica of the larger Coridon leapt from the memory and slammed down onto the platform, blocking the way forward. The ground cracked beneath the weight. The challenge was clear. Can you face your greatest fear? Not with rage, but with resolve. Coridon embraced himself. Instead of charging, he stood tall. He didn't roar. He didn't flinch. He simply stared the phantom down. And after a tense moment, the false image of the other Coridon shattered into light, fading away with a whisper of approval. He passed that part of the test. Higher now, only a few spirals from the top. The wind picked up. Tyrantula watched from below, unmoving, but you could feel the silent intensity of his gaze. This wasn't just about strength anymore. Next projection came, and this time, it was me. Why am I in here? A shadow version of you, smaller, but visibly terrified, stepping back from Coridon. A moment that never really happened, but one that reflected his worst fear. Oh, really? That even you. So, smaller, that even you, the person who helped him heal, might one day leave him behind. Holy crap, what the frick? Caradon's claws clenched the stone. His breathing slowed. He looked at the illusion, then looked back down to you on the ground below, watching him with hope in your eyes. He smiled. The illusion crumbled, scattering like ash in the wind, and with one final bound, he reached the top. At the summit of the spire, glowing with eternal energy, flowed the fourth bottle of Growtonium spray. As he approached, a golden light bathed them from above, and a distant low hum rumbled through the canyon. Tyrantrum bowed his massive head just slightly, a gesture of respect. You carried more than strength. You carried truth. Take your reward. Karan turned and looked down at you with pride glowing in his expression. He had done it, not just conquered a trial, but something far deeper. And the journey was far from over. Huh? We're doing good though. He's almost halfway done with this, which is good for him. Great job. You did great. Here we go. Caradon gave a deep, echoing chirp of gratitude as he looked down at you. Though now towering over the landscape at well over 170 feet, there was still a gentleness in his expression that hadn't changed. Your voice still reached him, no matter how massive he had become. He slowly descended the spire, his heavy claws pressing into the stone with controlled precision. Every step was deliberate, like he didn't want to shake the ground too much near you. As he reached the base, the fourth ball of Grotonium spray tucked safely in his scaled claws. A warm breeze blew across the canyon. You could feel the energy radiating from the bottle even from where you stood. It pulsed like a living thing, ready to unleash even more power. Caradon knelt slightly to meet your level as best he could. His giant head lowered, wings folding as he nudged you gently with the side of his massive snout. Careful, affectionate, and proud. The battle with Tyrantrum hadn't been one of claws or teeth. It had been a trial of memory, of inner battle, and Caradon had won. The ancient Tyrantrum gave a final, distant roar from the top of the cliff before retreating behind the stone walls, vanishing into a glowing fissure in the cliffside. The light faded, signaling that the trial was officially complete. Only 6 trials remained, each one promising greater challenges and guardians who would not all be as noble or fair. But Caridon now carried the strength of truth, growth, and a friend who never left his side. He looked to you again, as I sound asking, ready for the next one? I don't know if you can hear me anymore, but here, if you're hungry, I've got a big helping of berries. Batteries? Holy crap, no. Of berries that you can have. You're my favorite fossil Pokemon, so you deserve these. Dude, it'd be so cool if he walked back, like he heard that in the middle, like, wait, what, berries? Holy frick. That'd be weird. Okay, he heard me at least. Totodile was giving me the affection. That's what's cute about Totodile. When I give the 50 foot tall Totodile the berries, he literally just not only thanked me, but he also flipping came down to my level and started nudging me with his giant snout. It was adorable as frick. I loved it. A low, distant rumble echoed from the cliffs above, not hostile, but deep and resonant, like a mountain exhaling. You couldn't see Tyrantrum anymore, but it was clear. He heard you. Moments later, a shadow passed briefly over the cliffs as an enormous tail swept into view, followed by the soft sound of heavy steps fading further into the rocky terrain. Then, a brief pause. From a crack near the base of the cliff, a gust of warm air blew outward, almost like a thank you. Oh, that's cool. You set the berries down with care, the vibrant pile of orange, citrus, and pecha berries glowing softly in the sun. Energy of your gesture lingered in the air, and even the nearby wild points seemed to sense it. Few of them cautiously approached and waited nearby. Perhaps even they understood these berries were not for them. Karan gave a soft rumbling. Oh, he's cooing too every time. Karan gave a soft rumbling coo beside you, watching your kindness. Despite his towering size, there was a proud gleam in his eyes. I wanted to seem to say he noticed, just like I did. The moment passed peacefully, a gentle lull between trials, but the path ahead still waited. Only 6 bottles remained, and the next guardian would not be nearly as still, or patient. That's the Tyrantrum. I thought Tyrantrum would be one of the more aggressive ones. Go ahead. You can drink that vial of spray now. That was so massive. I have a feeling that's one of the most effective bottles of the potion. It might make you a little bigger than him. Or the same size at least. So you might be at least 750 feet tall when you drink that. Holy crap. Corrado looked down at the glowing vial of Grotonium spray, this one humming with a deeper intensity than the others. It shimmered in his claws like bottled lightning, the liquid inside glowing with a fiery orange hue, almost as if it carried a fragment of Tyrantrum's prehistoric power. He glanced back at you once more. Despite his massive frame already towering high above the trees, there was still that gentle trust in his eyes, same one from the beach when he could barely lift his head. Then, with a slow, careful motion, he uncorked the vial and drank it. The transformation began almost instantly. His body pulsed with light as veins of radiant energy surged through him. His scales shimmering, glowing brightly as his muscles expanded and bones creaked upward. The ground trembled, and gusts of wind kicked up from the force of his rising size. His wings, once powerful, now stretched to city block lengths, and casting shadows that reached across the cliffside. In mere moments, Karan had reached Tyrantrum's towering height, and then past it. The trees now looked like blades of grass beside him. The cliff he'd once had to climb would now barely reach his chest. At a rough estimate, Karan now stood nearly 800 feet tall. What the frick? That's like the size of a flippin' of the Toad Lugia hyper. When I show him so much love. He let a long, earth-shaking roar, not one of dominance, but of triumph and freedom. The sound rolled through the landscape like thunder, shaking leaves from the trees and sending distant flocks of bird Pokemon scattering into the sky. And then silence. Kron turned his head down to you again, very slowly, his massive body still glowing faintly from the spray. His voice was low and rumbling, but filled with joy. I've never felt like this before. And just beyond the cliffs, in the far distance, the terrain seemed to shift again. Another presence stirred, far off, yet unmistakably giant. The fifth guardian was waiting. You're almost halfway done, my friend. One more, and you will be halfway. Are you ready to hear about the next guardian? Here we go. Oh, come on. Oh, heck no. Karan leaned down, his enormous form casting a protective shadow over you as the wind gently stirred around his towering figure. Despite now being close to 800 feet tall, there was still a softness in his eyes, trust, excitement, and a fear of fire lit by your encouragement. He gave a slow nod, the earth softly rumbling beneath him with the movement. His deep voice rolled out like a gentle landslide. I'm ready. Tell me who comes next. You could see the eagerness in his stance, but also a flicker of caution. He knew by now that each test wasn't just about strength, it was about heart, wisdom, and endurance. I didn't want to speak here, but it's what made me anyway. You took a deep breath and began. The fifth guardian is said to be a Glycopod. Oh, heck no. The name alone made the air feel heavier. This one wasn't known for friendliness. In fact, legend has it that Glycopod guards a dark coastal cavern up north where waves crash violently against jagged rocks. He's quiet but intense, measuring one's resolve through patience and composure, not just raw power. He uses strategy over brute strength, testing your ability to stay calm under pressure. Rumors claim he used a larger dose of Grotonium than Todal or even Noivern. Tyrantrum was 750, so some say he's over 900 feet motherfucking tall. His armored body like a moving fortress. His glowing red eyes can see through deception, and if he senses doubt, the trial becomes much harder. As you finish explaining, a distant sound echoes from the horizon, a deep churning tide followed by an inhuman screech. The unmistakable call is something massive. Insectoid, oh heck no, and ancient, echoing over the crashing surf. Kron looked toward the sound, his claws tightening with anticipation. Then let's keep going, he said, his voice steady. This next trial would push him mentally, more than physically, and he would need you more than ever by his side. Would you like to say it? Oh no, and it's a fucking bug. Come on, if it's only a bug, it could at least been something like, I don't know, Centistorch. It's a creepy centipede, but I like it better than I do Glycopod. Glycopod creeps me out. Let's go. Oh no. Here we go. You and Karan begin your journey northward. The massive bend now a familiar stretch behind you. Each of Karan's steps thudded against the earth, causing distant flocks of Wingull to scatter into the sky. The air gradually shifted, cooler, heavier, and filled with the salt and tension of crashing waves against sharp stone. Up ahead, black cliffs jutted out from the land like jagged fangs. The sound of water surging through narrow caverns grew louder with each step. Sky dimmed slightly as the mist rolled in, and eventually you reached the edge of the coastal cliffs. A massive crevice sat between two looming pillars of stone, just wide enough for someone your size to enter, and definitely carved by something far bigger. You stopped and looked up. Just above the cavern entrance, etched unnaturally into the stone, were deep slashes, 3 parallel gashes, clean but brutal, like a warning from an ancient beast. Karan lowered himself slightly so you wouldn't have to shout. You saw his jaw tighten. He's here. I can feel it. Suddenly, the crashing of the waves halts for a moment. Eerie silence. Then a massive shadow moved in the water, and from the midst of the cave's interior, a monstrous form emerges. Glycopod. His eyes burned a fierce crimson. His armored exoskeleton glistens in dark blue and violet hues. He towered over even Tyrantrum, easily over 950 feet tall. his claws flexing with purpose as he stared directly at Caradon. But he did not roar. He didn't lunge. Instead, he tapped one claw against the rock as if gesturing a chess piece into place. A glowing circle formed around him, smooth, almost ritualistic. It wasn't a battlefield, it was an arena for patience, defense, and tactics. This wasn't just about strength anymore. And now the trial begins. Would you like to encourage Karan to begin or say something before it starts? Before I could even say anything, a bird Pokemon, angry about me being in its territory, started pecking me. And before I could even do anything, I fell back down the cliff. Patience. This better be the test. I swear to frick. Oh my gosh. As you stumbled, the sharp-beaked jats in the territorial bird pool sent you teetering off balance, your foot slipping on the damp, rocky edge of the cliff. In a flash of wind and feathers, you were falling. The world turned sideways as the sea cliffs rushed past you, salty wind whistling in your ears. Before your body could hit the jagged rocks below, boom! A massive shadow streaks downward from above. Hey, it's Koraidon! With incredible speed for his size, he leapt clean off the cliff, twisting his huge body mid-air as he dove after you. Just as you were about to crash against the sharp stone, his enormous claws scooped under you, gently wrapping you in the palm of his huge, scaled hand. He tucked you close against his chest, curling protectively around you as he landed with a thunderous crash that split the shoreline. A wave surged up from the force, but it curled harmlessly back. He didn't say a word at first, his massive eyes scanning you for injuries, drawing low at the sky where the bird had vanished, frightened off by Koraidon's roar. After a pause, he slowly and gently nudged you with a claw, checking if you were conscious. Are you okay? You'd respond to have Koraidon take you somewhere so the trial continues. I'm okay, thanks to you. Go ahead and complete the next trial for me, like you have been doing. I'm not going completely back up there. Because I could really get hurt. Just complete whatever the Pokemon needs. If you pass, I'll tell you about the next Pokemon. And don't worry, if I'm in danger again while you're doing your trial, I'll get one of my Pokemon that will be glad to help me. Here we go. Kron's gaze softened as you spoke. His massive head lowering to your level, warm air blowing from his nostrils, he gave you a soft, protective rumble. He gently nodded, understanding completely. Without another word, he turned back toward the cliff, his powerful legs flexing. With a single leap that shook the ground, he scaled the height in seconds, landing near the top with practiced grace. Towering frame now dwarfed most of the cliffside trees, over 750 feet tall easily, and seeing the last spray had made him not just stronger, but even more agile. Trail grounds ahead were bathed in a golden haze of sunlight. It's Luxray now. Standing between Garan and the next vile growth on it was the Guardian, a massive Luxray. What the frick? Its back and black and blue fur bursting with static, golden eyes gleaming like lightning strikes. It's at least 600 feet tall, fur curling with tension as it stood guard atop a rocky platform infused with electric energy. This Luxray didn't roar or attack, instead it turned its head slightly and fixed the ground with a piercing, analytical gaze. Then the challenge appeared. A ring of thunder pillars surrounded the area. 4 were crackling with active electricity, while 4 others remained dormant. In the center, a glowing sigil hovered, one shaped like a Luxray's eye. The trial was clear without a word. Match the active pattern of electricity using the dormant pillars, but step on the wrong one, a surge of electricity would be unleashed. It was a trial of memory and logic, not battle. Gron, despite his sheer size, moved carefully, his claws inching toward the first pillar. Meanwhile, down below, your pulling companions were gathering near you. One of them, perhaps your Fragger, Noivern, stepped close, offering support with a protective growl and a worried nuzzle. When you like to choose which one stays by your side for now, while Koraidon attempts to travel above. What happened to the flippin'? GOL. Up there. Up there. Saying good. You are doing good. with my lackey. Trial of patience, logic. And puzzle solving. Keep this up and my trial will be complete. Okay, so now it finally got mixed up. I mean, granted. From high above, Kron heard the deep rumbling voice echoed from the rocks beyond Alatre's platform. Emerging from the shadows of a massive ledge further up the cliff was a Golisopod, but not just any Golisopod. This one was enormous, easily 800 feet tall, armor like its skeleton glinting in the light. Its mantle clicked with authority as it leaned forward, one claw resting on a jagged boulder like a commander overlooking a battlefield. While his voice carried power, it held no anger, only stern authority and expectation. Good. You're doing well with my lackey looks, rates trial of patience, logic, and puzzle solving. Keep this up and my own trial will be within your reach. Ron, now knew himself after the last Roconium dose, rumbled in acknowledgement, but didn't look away from the trial. His focus remained sharp. Well, you could just barely hear the exchange. Oswald's presence was so intense that the cliff seemed to vibrate slightly under his weight. Yet your concern remained with Caradon for his success, but for his safety. Oswald considered Luttray's trial to be only a warm-up to everything. Luttray's trial continued as arcs of blue lightning flicked in rhythmic pulses from the four active pillars. One sparkled high, then low, then mid, then high again. Kron had to replicate the exact pattern using the four dormant pillars, but they were on opposite sides of the platform. He began to move. Step 1. He struck the dormant pillar corresponding to the high spark. No reaction. Correct. Step 2. He reached across the field and lightly tapped the low spark pillar. It hummed faintly. Still correct. Step 3. He paused, hesitating between two similar-looking pillars. The mid-spark test. He chose carefully, until he pressed one with his massive claw. A pulse of golden energy lit the platform. Correct again. Only one step left. He walked with bated breath as the fourth pillar loomed. This was it. Ron narrowed his eyes, recalling the pattern. Then with total precision he tapped the final pillar. All 8 pillars flared in harmony. A web of lightning danced across the arena, harmless and beautiful. Luxury roared in pride, stepping aside to reveal the next bottle of Gratonium, curled in a stone pedestal shaped like a lightning bolt. Oswald, still watching from above, clicked his closer. Impressive. You've earned it. Take it. And prepare for what comes next. It'll not go easy, no matter how noble your cause. Ron stepped forward to claim the vial. What do you like to do now? Do you want to speak to Ron before he drinks the potion? Holy crap. had more than one massive Pokemon to deal with? Question mark. That's new. It was just him a while ago. And now there's at least two. Just to get the fifth bottle? Question mark. Maybe you get littler bottles. That you will get multiple of if you can complete each of his trial. Glycobot's great claw flexed, and he stepped forward, the ground trembling from his sheer size and weight. Now fully visible, his presence towered like a skyscraper above the cliffs. As he spoke again, the air carried his voice like a distant thunderclap. This is not just my trial anymore. The Grotonian's power is growing stronger, more volatile, and with it, the Guardians must adapt. We could now see more movement from above. Luxray wasn't alone. Another silhouette paced the cliff nearby, a massive Galvantula, easily 300 feet tall, crawled into view, silver fur bristling with static. It locked its 8 eyes on Koridon, but didn't attack, just watched. To earn the fifth bottle, Glycopod continued, you must prove more than strength. Unity, precision, focus. These Pokemon are my co-judges now. The power we guard is no longer safe to wield lightly. A beat passed. Then Glycopod extended his claw, and one shimmering blue vial of Grotonium floated down on a cushion of wind, hovering before Gron. For him, three small stone pedestals shimmered faintly into view, each shaped differently. One resembled a beetle horn, one a thunderbolt, one a swirl of water. Their meaning wasn't explained, but they didn't need to be. It was clear. This was only part one. You turned to Gron, raising your voice over the winds. I think this realm might have more than one stage. Not just about defeating one point anymore. Straw is layered. You might earn more than one bottle if you pass each part. Okay, Gron rolled in reply, wings flaring slightly behind his back. He seemed to understand. He looked at the blue vial hovering before him. One bottle, yes, but maybe the first of several. So we're gonna take the first bottle now for facing the rest of Glycopod's expanded trial. Or hold off in case he needs it afterward. You don't have to worry about me. My Pokemon are here protecting me. If you want to use that bottle, Now, it's up to you. It might help you for later. I don't know how many layers this trial has. It probably won't make you as big as the other ones, but if you can beat each of the layers, it'll definitely add up once you drink them all. Ryan turned his head toward you, expression calm but determined. But down at the shimmering blue vial floating in front of him, the liquid inside glowing faintly like ocean light under the moon. Then with a nod of understanding, he gently grasped it in his massive claws. His eyes locked with yours one more time, not of hesitation, but to silently say, I'm ready, and I'm not doing this alone. With one tilt of his head, Ryan drank the entire bottle. The reaction was swift but smoother than the previous surges. Instead of an explosive growth spurt, it was controlled, almost elegant. His claws cracked slightly as they lengthened, his tail swaying, and the muscles beneath his skin tensed like coiled springs. His chest broadened, his frills extended, and his leg gets heavier like living support pillars. The faintest hum of power vibrated through the air around him. He was growing again, now nearing 900 feet tall, his head brushing near the tower lower clouds. But this time there was more than just size. His senses sharpened, his posture adjusted. His eyes no just glowed. They shimmered as if reacting to an unseen force within the cliffside, seemed more attuned as if the spray had enhanced not just his body, but his mind. High above, the massive galvanometer twitched slightly and skittered into position on a stone wall. Trial wasn't over. It was only beginning. Suddenly, three giant rings of energy ignited above the three pedestals. One yellow, one blue, one green. From Glycopod's perch, his voice boomed. The first ring, test coordination. The second, logic. The third, resolve. Complete them, and the true fifth vial shall be yours. As Karan stepped toward the first ring, you saw your pawn, protective and alert, gathered closer around you below the cliff, watching silently. I continued to watch the trial. From below where I fell. With my sweet Pokemon. As you sat nestled between your loyal pawn, your Ferragur keeping an ever watchful eye, and Noivern perched protectively above, you looked up at the massive figure of Caridon. From your vantage point, his silhouette towered against the late afternoon sky, now nearly 900 feet tall, casting a deep shadow over the cliffside. Despite his size, Caridon moved with focus and grace. The Grotonium hadn't made him clumsy, it had refined him. The first ring, glowing yellow like a hovering sun, suddenly flared. Several glowing platforms appeared in a wide circle around it. Each one floated, shifting slightly in position every few seconds. Karan stepped onto the nearest one. The test of coordination had begun. A deep rumble followed. Platforms began rotating at different speeds. Some spun slowly, others darted sharply side to side. Each one flipped just briefly before it shifted, warning Kron that a wrong step could send them plummeting back to the base of the cliffs. You held your breath as he timed his first leap. Graceful, landing with minimal shake for someone his size. Another platform, then another. He wasn't brute forcing his way through. He was thinking. The pawn looked up too, watching in awe. Suddenly a smaller pawn-like construct, something like a holographic scyther made of golden light, materialized mid-air and swung its blades at Caridon. He ducked, then vaulted over using his tail as leverage, landing just as the next platform began to drop. From below, your Ferragur gave a proud rumble. Your Noivern chirped gently and nuzzled your head as you sat safely beneath its wing. Okay. Then, you heard it. The ring above the cliff chimed, and the yellow glow vanished. A solid flash of golden light surged into the stone tower behind it. Trial 1 of Goliathopod's challenge complete. 2 more rings to go. We got the same thing, just keep running quiet as the logic trial begins. Logic trial, eh? There we go. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. First out. Let's see. The light from the first ring faded into the tower with a deep, resonant hum, and the second ring, this one a cool sapphire blue, flared to life above the cliffs. You could feel the pulse of its energy even from your safe spot below. The logic trial was about to begin. You nestled deeper into the fur of your Ferragur, who rumbled gently, wrapping a protective arm around you. He has fur? What, Casper's here? Overshield decided to provide more shade with its wingspan, sensing the importance of this moment not just for Caridon, but for you too. Even your Dragapult Casper silently emerged from his Pokeball and floated just nearby, his 2 Dreepies sitting on his head and swaying gently as they watched. Up above, Caridon stepped forward. The blue ring pulsed again, and suddenly a massive illusionary wall formed, floating in the air. It looked like a multi-layered puzzle, made up of dozens of shimmering hexagonal tiles, each glowing faintly with runes. Some had symbols from ancient times, others had elemental markings, flames, water droplets, leaves, lightning bolts, and stars. A voice boomed from the cliffs. It was Goliathopod, or perhaps the ancient test mechanism has activated. Align the elements in balance. Fire cannot touch a leaf. Water may not oppose lightning. Arrange them as they were before the first sunrise. Huh? You saw Karan pause, tilting his massive head, eyes locked on the puzzle. He gently pressed the tile with one claw, and the entire hexagonal cluster rotated. Another tap, and one section lit up briefly. Wrong combination. Back below, your pawn looked on in silent support. Ferragur going closer to you. Rum was off. He can do it. In his way. Suddenly, high above, Kron turned and used his tail, while tapping 4 tiles in a perfect sequence. One tile lit up with a deep blue glow. Then another. Then a third. You held your breath. The ring above chimed again. Trial 2. Logic complete. Only one more test in Glycopod's later trial. Would you like to say something from below before he enters the final test, or stay quiet beside your point to let him focus? I'll continue to let him focus. Focus. Focus pocus. I hate the fact that I just... Okay, you know what? The air grew still, almost reverent, as the second ring faded and the third and final trial ring of Glycopod's layered challenge at night above. A deep emerald green, radiating a steady rhythm, like the heartbeat of the forest. From your position below, nestled against your Faragir side, you could sense the tension. Even your usually energetic Dreepy were silent, clinging to Casper's horns as the Dragapult hovered nearby. No even remained alert. Wings curled around you like a watchful sentinel. Every one of your Pokemon knew how serious this was, the halfway point, and perhaps the most demanding mental challenge yet. High above on the cliff, Koraidon advanced cautiously. A lush field of glowing moss had appeared from the ring's activation, transforming the rocky surface into something almost ethereal. In the center stood a massive crystalline Luxray, easily 300 feet tall, its fur shimmering with streaks of electric green, not yellow, and its glowing eyes narrowing as Koraidon approached. Courage is strength, but wisdom is control, the Luxray intoned, voice like thunder laced with static. Your task is not to strike, but to think. Choose wisely, or fall like many before you. With that, the moss below Koraidon's feet shifted, and 5 enormous stone tablets rose from the ground. Each bore a single word: power, patience, speed, rage, and compassion. Above them, a large stone dial hovered, surrounded by tiny hovering energy shards that resembled keys. The Luxray's voice echoed again. Only one of these opens the path to the next bottle. Only one reflects the true nature of a guardian. What do you choose? From below, you could only watch, your heart pounding as Koraidon stood silently before the tablets. Your Faragir looked at you with concern in his golden eyes. I love Faragir. Casper flew closer, one Dreepy humming softly in his haunting, metallic tone. You could feel the growing support surrounding you, though none of you could help Koraidon directly. This choice had to be his. Above, Koraidon stared at each tablet. He didn't rush. He didn't roar. He simply closed his eyes and thought. And then, he lowered his claw gently on the tablet labeled Compassion. There was silence. Then, a shattering chime, like the cracking of ice under sunlight. The Luxray smiled faintly and stepped back. Correct. To guard something powerful, one must first care for what is weak. You have passed. From the center of the mossy field, the fifth ball of Grotonium spray rose, glowing bright green, pulsing with gentle energy. Koraidon bowed his head respectfully before taking it. Down below, your point cheered, not with noise, but with affection. Your Faragir nuzzled into you. Oh, that's adorable as frick. No even give a gentle trill. Casper even spun a slow spiral. The Dreepy chirping in joy. Koraidon had done it. Would you like to call up to him, or wait for him to return before sharing your thoughts? And that's clue. Great job. You're doing fantastic. You should be halfway done now with the entire test. Only 5 bottles to go. Alright. I'm done, guys. This video.